Alright, here's the second and final video for Chapter 11. In this section there are two major topics that you're going to want to be able to list and explain the parts of in regards to like an essay question. That would be the in-class portion of the test that will be on Tuesday. Alright, but we're going to start here with talking about global issues, and what you need to be aware of is that when you start with a global strategy, that allows a better ability to develop products that are more marketable worldwide instead of focusing more on a smaller geographic segment. You can look right off the bat at more worldwide, and allows you that better ability to develop the products that are marketable worldwide compared to a smaller geographic area. Some global marketers design their products to meet regulations in their markets, and then if necessary they can tweak them to meet smaller markets requirements based upon the country that they would be in as well. Alright, diffusion is just the process by which the adoption of an innovation spreads. An innovation is a product that's perceived as new by a potential customer or adopter. It really doesn't matter whether the product is actually new to the world, but as long as it is perceived as new, it can be considered an innovation. And then by understanding how customers learn about and adopt products, marketing managers have a better chance of successfully marketing those products as well. Now this is one of the areas that you're going to want to know for an essay question. Alright, the different categories of adopters, these 5 categories, knowing them and being able to explain them is very important. An innovator is when it's early on, the product is perceived as new by a potential adopter. Innovators are the first 2.5% of all those who adopt the product. They're eager to try new ideas, eager to try new products. Usually they have higher incomes. Alright, I gotta pick back up here. I just had somebody come in. I had to stop the video, so sorry about this little interruption. But the innovators, a lot of times, since they want to get this new technology and new products right away, the products cost more, so they usually have higher incomes, rely less on group norms. They don't rely on the groups themselves, like pressure-wise or anything like that. And a lot of times they're well educated to be able to learn about the different products. They get the information and all that. Early adopters, these are the next 13.5% to adopt the product. They're usually oriented to the community, rely on group norms and values. They're more likely to be the opinion leaders. So this is like the next group that they're not the very first to get the product, but they like to be some of the first ones to have the product as well. Like I said, the next 13.5%. Early majority is the next 34% to adopt the product, and this is the group that weighs the pros and the cons, the advantages and the disadvantages before deciding to adopt a new product. They rely on a lot of group information. They'll get information from like reviews, things like that before they decide to buy the product. The late majority is the next 34% to adopt the product, and they end up adopting the new product because most of their friends already have adopted it. By this point, though, also the price of the product is going down, so they don't have to have quite as much money. It's not as expensive because it's been out for a little while. They tend to be a little older and below average in the income and education levels. Lastly is the laggards, the final 16% to adopt. And by the time the laggards adopt an innovation, it has probably been updated with newer models. Marketers typically ignore laggards just because there's not a whole lot of purchasing going on with them. They don't seem to be motivated by promotion, personal selling, sales techniques and things like that. So laggards are not a key category for marketers, but they're somebody that you have to at least be considerate of. All right, the next one, product characteristics and the rate of adoption. All right, so 5 product characteristics can be used to predict and explain the rate of acceptance and diffusion of a new product. Complexity is the first one, and the more complex the product, the slower it is, its diffusion is. Compatibility. Incompatible products diffuse more slowly than compatible products. All right, here we go again. Had to stop it again, so third time's a charm, I guess. Let's just start up with the compatibility, because products that are incompatible diffuse more slowly than products that are compatible. Relative advantage just means the degree to which a product is perceived, that's a key word, perceived as superior to the competition or substitutes. Observability talks about the degree to which the benefits or any other results of using the products can be observed by others and communicated to the target market. Okay, people seeing the benefits of it. And trialability is the degree to which a product can be tried on a limited basis. You know, maybe like a 1-month trial, a 3-month trial, a 3-day trial even, something like that. Marketing implications of the adoption process. Okay, there are two types of communication aid in the diffusion process. Word of mouth communication among consumers and communication directly from the marketer to potential adopters. So word of mouth is from consumer to consumer, and communication directly from the marketer to the potential adopters. All right, this next section is another one of the critical elements that could be in an essay question that you're going to want to know. Product life cycle is a familiar concept in marketing. It's considered useful marketing management tool. The product life cycle traces the stages of a product's acceptance from its introduction to its decline. Okay, as you can see on the screen, birth to death of the product. Here is the product life cycle itself. This is Exhibit 11.2, and you can see the 4 major stages of the product life cycle for a consumer good. The introduction stage, the growth stage, maturity, and decline stage. The time, you have to understand at the very bottom, the horizontal axis at the bottom, the time, there is not a set amount of time for each stage. Each stage could be a couple months, could be years. It all depends upon the product itself and how long it takes to go through these. The top line in the graph is the amount of sales, the revenue that is brought in from this product. The line below that is the profits. And if you notice, the profits can be below zero because you invest money in the product to begin with. So before you sell anything, you're actually starting in a hole. But sales cannot go below zero because if you don't sell anything, you have zero. You can't actually lose that money, and the sales will just go up initially from there. All right, Exhibit 11.3 will illustrate typical life cycles for styles such as formal, business, casual clothing. It'll illustrate typical life cycles for fashions and then fads as well. Fads are more short-lived. Changes in a product, its use, its image, positioning, any of these things can extend the product's life cycle. All right. The style one is a style of clothing that will have its little ups and downs, but it will transcend time a lot more. Fashion is a little bit longer, a little bit longer interest section, but then it drops off. And a fad is a very short term. Okay, very, very short term. Now looking at the introductory stage here. It represents the full-scale launch of a new product. Okay, during this stage, sales will increase slowly. Marketing costs are high because you have to make sure you get distribution out there, give consumers incentive to try the product. You have to communicate to the product and let them know that the product is even in existence now. Production costs are very high because you don't quite have economies of scale yet. Advertising expenses are extremely high. Promotion strategy is going to focus on developing the product awareness, letting people know about the product, informing the customer about the product. You're trying to promote promotion of convenience products will often require a lot of sampling, free samples, coupons to be able to get the product into people's hands without having to even buy it or to buy it at a cheaper price. The growth stage, sales begin to grow at a faster rate during this stage. Their competitors realize that this product is actually working, people like it, so they begin to enter the market, and larger companies might start acquiring some of the small firms that have pioneered this idea. Profits, now the second line, the profits will rise rapidly. They're going to peak in this stage and then they begin to decline as the competition increases. So as more competition comes in, the profits tend to go down. Advertising is more towards the brand advertising and communicating the differences between your company and your product compared to that of the competition. Maturity stage, it begins when sales increase at a decreasing rate. Okay, it starts to level off is what we're talking about here. And the market approaches a saturation rate. This stage is usually the longest stage of the product life cycle. Service and repair help is usually needed in this stage because the products have been around for a little while. Prices and profits, they will continue to fall. The smaller, more marginal competitors will begin to drop out of the market. Promotions, lots and lots of promotions are used to try to maintain your market share. Then we move on to the decline stage. The rate of decline depends upon how rapidly consumers' tastes change, their preferences change, or it also depends upon whether or not there are substitute products and if they're adopted. This is the point where, like convenience products, items that are fads tend to lose their market what seems to be almost overnight. Some firms eliminate any non-essential marketing expenses and just let sales decline as more and more customers stop using the product and stop purchasing the product. So the line of the book has about that organized abandonment is this. It says, other firms practice organized abandonment, which is based upon a periodic audit of all goods and services that a firm markets. So in other words, if a product is in this stage and is not bringing in a lot of sales and a lot of profit, they are going to, as a company, as a corporation, decide to let that product go. All right, this is Exhibit 11.4, and this is going to show the relationship between the adopter categories and the product life cycle. Okay, so we talked about innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and then laggards, and you can see where they are in this particular product life cycle chart as well. Almost all sales in the maturity and decline stages represent repeat purchases. Just be aware of that, representing repeat purchases. And then that brings us to the end of the chapter and the video. So just remember to read the chapters, study your notes, look over the PowerPoints, the videos, and Friday night the online test will be made available until Monday night, and then the written portion will be done in class on Tuesday. Hope you have a good weekend. Let me know if you have any questions.